Hey guys, Stephen Cox here, and have you ever had the issue with your U-bass or bass ukulele where one of the strings was just quieter than the rest of them? Well, today we're going to be fixing that using a method that Michael shared on the U-Bass Freaks Facebook group. So if you like videos like these, please hit subscribe below and consider becoming a patron. So first of all, you can try some certain things that might help, and if they help, then you won't have to do something quite as crazy as what we're about to do, which is actually going to be modifying the pickup of the bass, or really the saddle. So what you could do is you could try loosening the strings and tightening them in different orders, but if that doesn't work, there's not really a whole lot else to do other than mess with the EQ, so you may have to do some actual modifications to the instrument. So that's what we'll be doing today. So just as a disclaimer, I have never done this, and I really rarely do modifications to my bass ukuleles. So this is new for me, and it's going to be a learning process for me. So when I find stuff that's difficult about doing this, I'm going to share that with you for some potential problems you might face as you're doing this. But basically the idea is we are going to take a knife, and we are going to cut these little indentions in the saddle. You can kind of see that there are these little indentions between the strings. It almost looks like these pieces on the saddle, which is this like white part underneath the strings. It almost looks like they're separated, but they aren't. They're all connected. And so the idea is that there are 4 individual pickups underneath there, and that each string is supposed to be pushing down on a pickup, but because that saddle is connected together all the way through, it's creating kind of like a seesaw effect, where if one string pushes down harder than the other string's not able to push down hard enough to make contact with the pickup enough to make the volume even between all the strings. So what we're going to be doing is literally cutting that connection so that each string can push down the proper amount. And we'll be following Michael's advice. So I'm going to be following his steps. And his first step is to take the strings off of the bass ukulele. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're just going to take the instrument and loosen the strings until they come off. All right, one down. Keep turning and turning until it's loose enough to pull around and unravel over here. All right, that's loose enough, so I'm just going to stretch it around there so that I can untangle it. And then now I've got 2 more strings left. Down to the last one. There we go. So now we have the strings off. It's time to figure out the next step, which is removing the whole pickup assembly. So this is the part with the least amount of details. I don't know if we have to pry it out, if we have to push it out from the back, or what. So I will let you know as soon as I figure this out. So I think the hardest part of this is going to be getting the pickup assembly out of the bridge. So I'm going to try to pry it out carefully, but if I have any trouble, I'm going to resort to looking to advice on the internet. Here we go. All right, so I was able to lift up that side of the pickup, and now I'm able to pull it out. I'm going to pull out very carefully because I know there's wires connected, so we don't want to like hurt the connection of the wires. So I'm just going to get that out very, very carefully. All right. So we've got the assembly out. It looks like there's a little thing underneath covering. So then his next step is to take off these little black caps on the side. So that is our next step, is to hopefully, yep, they just come right off. All right, I'm trying to be very, very careful with this one. All right, so this one's a little bit more stubborn than the other one. The other one came right off. This one doesn't want to seem to get off of there, so I'm going to pry it a little bit. If I can get... All right, so now that I got the caps off, this is the part we want to cut. So let's look at this really quickly. Do you see where it is separated into 4 pieces on top, but how it's connected through on the bottom? And then underneath there are 4 little squares. So we want to separate them all the way through so that we end up with 4 separate pieces. That's our goal. It's not very easy to cut, just for the record. So you might want to put something underneath this part of the pickup. This is the saddle. You might want to put something underneath the saddle so that you don't cut the surface that you're cutting on. I've already made some damage to this table. I suggest you get a sharper blade than I have, because I just had to give up and kind of break through the last bit, and this might cost me a little bit in the fact that I might need to file down some of these edges to make them a little bit more smooth. This is the only file I have in the house. Yes, it's a fingernail file. So now that I have the pieces filed and cut, I'm going to put them back in the order that they were in and put them back together with the pickup. So first I'm going to put these pieces back into the metal tray. See how I'm just sliding them in? I'm making sure that the bottom is still on the bottom, so you have the little part that looks like a rooftop of a house facing up. Once all these are sitting on the tray, I'm going to put the black caps back on to hold the end pieces in place. So that is one of the trouble areas. You might have trouble putting the black end caps back on. So I'm going to hold all 4 pieces in with my fingers while I put the black end cap on. And Michael suggested for this that you may want to tape the pieces together to make this part easier. This is proving to be quite difficult. I think this is why he suggested taping them together, so that things like that would not happen. So the hard part is getting this piece in with the end cap on. The end cap fell off. It's really hard to get the pickup assembly with the end caps back into the bass ukulele with them all being separate pieces like this. So this can be very frustrating, just so you guys know. Even though it's a fairly simple thing overall, it can be a little bit frustrating. And it's in. So now we just got to put the strings back on and we should be good. It's going to be hard for me to get all of this in the view because I'm going to have to keep the bass on the table flat so that these pieces don't come flying off. So let's see what happens. I'm going to make sure as I'm going that the saddle is not coming out of its slot now that it's 4 pieces. So I just have to occasionally adjust them while I'm tightening the strings. And when you're doing this, you might want a string winder because it is a very lengthy process. All right, now we have all the strings on. All the pieces stayed in place, so that was good. Now we just need to tune, and then it'll be time to play. Now that we've got that all back together, let's see how it sounds. Alright guys, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed learning how to fix your bass ukulele volume issues. I'm not going to lie, that was very tedious. So if you don't mind having to fish out pieces of the saddle from inside your bass ukulele, or you've just done this more than me so you know little tips and tricks on how to keep things in a row without dropping them, then I think this is a great solution. It didn't cause any extra rattles, it didn't cause anything else once I got everything back together, but it does take a lot of patience. But thanks again so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys on the next one. If you haven't yet, please subscribe for more tips like this, as well as lesson videos every Tuesday, and on Thursdays I have a live stream. I'll see you guys on Thursday.